Hi, this is Anita, the Global Trade Gal. One of the things that I love to do, and if you've been listening to my podcast at all, you know that's something that I enjoy is sailing. And, sailing, it's just great to be out there in the water. It's so calm, it's so peaceful. It's really a great way to spend a beautiful, sunny summer day. And even if it's a bit of a colder day out there, it's so great to be out there. It's just fun to be out there and to feel the breeze on your face and to watch the sails and to see the world and nature around you. But today I want to talk a little bit about some superstitions or myths, a few myths from sailing. First of all, let's talk about where did a lot of these myths come from. And, in the maritime, there was a lot of superstitions from both fear and wonder. Imagine if you don't swim at all and you live by the sea and you see these big storms and this wave and you've never been out in a boat. Of course, you'd have sort of this wonder about what's on the other side of this water if you were someone that was living there. And so there's a lot of superstitions that went on about the water and the sea and the wonder. There's still some superstitions which, even persist today. One of the most controversial beliefs that happened was women on board. Perhaps no maritime superstition is more famous or controversial than the belief that women bring bad luck to ships, which is kind of interesting. The superstition has deep historical roots, but also reveals the male-dominated nature of the seafaring industry or throughout history. The belief held that women would distract the sailors and from their duties, anger the sea gods, and cause storms through their presence. In the olden times, they believed that women would bring bad luck. But ironically, the same ships believed that naked women were believed to calm stormy seas, which is why many ships, they would have these bare-breasted figures at the front of their ship. And these, wooden women were believed to calm the sea and guide the ship safely to port. So there's kind of this contradiction going on. You don't want the women on board because they are, told to bring bad luck. They're not, good for the men. But at the same time, let's put a bare-breasted wooden woman at the front of our ship because she's going to guide us and bring us good luck. Today, the superstition, thank goodness, has largely disappeared because women have proven themselves to be equally capable sailors as the male counterparts. But, there's can be some of these, beliefs can sort of echo a bit in some of the traditional sailing communities. Another one is albatross, which is the messenger of fortune and doom. Few maritime superstitions are poetically captured as the albatross legend, which is immortalized by Sam Taylor Coleridge's The Rime of Ancient Mariner. Sailors traditionally have viewed albatross as good omens, souls of drowned sailors watching over their living brethren. These magnificent seabirds, capable of following ships for thousands of miles without landing, seemed almost supernatural in their abilities. The superstition held killing one of these birds, the albatross, would bring terrible bad luck to the entire ship and crew. And so that's why you don't want to kill one of these birds, because it would bring bad luck to your entire sailing voyage. Whistling for wind, calling the storm. The relationship between sailors and the wind has always been a complex one. When you sail, you need the wind to bring your boat forward, but at the same time, too much wind can be damaging and you can lose your life. So there's a delicate balance between too much or too little wind. Traditional beliefs have held that whistling wind whistle up a storm. So, sailors were not to whistle on board a ship because it was believed if you whistle, it would whistle up a storm, calling forth winds too strong to handle. So only the ship's cook could sometimes be exempt from this rule, as he needed to whistle to prove he wasn't, eating the crew's food while preparing meals. But sailors believed that gentle humming might encourage a favorable breeze, but whistling was strictly forbidden. So when you're on a sailboat, you don't want to be whistling too much because it might bring in a really bad storm. This is one of those that, a lot of sailors might believe in this today. It's often honored in jest where they might say, don't whistle. That's bad luck. There might be something that you might hear a sailor say, don't whistle, that's bad luck. Bananas are forbidden fruit for some. One of the most persistent modern sailing superstitions involves bananas. Many sailors refuse to bring bananas aboard vessels, believing they bring bad luck, mechanical failures, or poor fishing. This relatively recent superstition, compared to ancient maritime, has several proposed origins. Some trace to the Caribbean trade routes, where ships carrying bananas had to sail quickly to prevent spoilage, leaving no time for fishing.
Others point out that bananas release a type of gas that can cause other fruits to ripen and spoil quickly. More dramatically, some claim that deadly spiders hiding in banana shipments were responsible for crew deaths. So whether it's rooted in practical concerns or pure superstition, there are some today who might believe, especially if you're going to go out fishing, don't bring a banana with you. This banana could bring bad luck. We may not catch the fish we need to catch if we have the banana. And along with that, there's some of their creatures. There's, of course, the kraken, which is the terror of the deep. It's a sea monster that's capable of, destroying entire ships. It's one of the methodologies. There's, sirens and mermaids, beauty and danger at the same time. Of course, that mermaid myth continues, especially with, Disney and some of their mermaid movies where, it continues on where, there's these sort of like these beautiful half naked women that are half fish and half women that are down there in the waters. They don't know where the legend really came from, but it's likely originated from several sources. So maybe sailors spending months at sea, deprived of human companionship, might easily interpret different signals and signs, and it may see evidence of these sea-dwelling humans, or maybe they begin to hallucinate and begin to see things that they weren't really there. The other one is Davy Jones' Locker, which is considered the sailor's final destination. The Davy Jones' lockers become synonymous with ocean floor as the final resting place for the drowned sailors and sunken ships. So you might hear someone say like, oh, they went down to Davy Jones' locker. And that could be sort of like an expression that they might have, which the origins of the phase are debated, but Davy Jones himself was considered the evil spirit of the seas, ruling over the ocean's depths and claiming the souls of those who died at sea. Some scholars have suggested that Davy Jones evolved from Duffy Jonah, referring to the biblical Jonah, or from David Jones, a pub owner who allegedly shanghaied sailors. They're not really sure, but this is, others have traced it to a West Indian term, dumpy, meaning ghost, combined with Jonah. So no one's really quite sure where the Davy Jones, came from, but there could be several different ways, and it could have different meanings in different parts of the world. But, regardless, this is something where many sailors might say, or they might use the term, and to be able to refer to it. And of course, there's regional ones. There's the Celtic sea legends, the Norse maritime mythology, Asian maritime traditions too that goes on. So you have all of these that go on too from around the world. And of course, there's some modern day ones too. If you'd like to be able to read about the modern day ones, you can go in and you can read our blog post, which is entitled Sailing Superstitions, Myth and Legends of the Sea. And you go in there, you can read about the older ones, the modern ones. You can see some very interesting photos all about it and be able to learn more about these legends which are out there on the sea and on the water. This is Anita from the Dusty Roads Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We hope that you will join with us and press that subscribe button. Become one of our subscribers. We'd love to have you join with us. It's amazing how many people watch and listen but don't subscribe. So we hope that you'll be one of those that actually subscribes. So thank you so much. It does really make a difference for us and for the algorithms if you can subscribe. Thank you for being a part of our community. We certainly do appreciate you. We hope you'll check out our blog, A Bus on a Dusty Road, and check out specifically our blog about this, which is Sailing Superstitions, Myths and Legends of the Sea. We'll put a link in the description. Thank you.